In the last video, I briefly looked over 5 of the company earnings of Palantir's partners. But after thinking about that data, I think there's another angle to look at things. It's from the stock price of their partners. So I decided to dig up all the companies that have signed with Palantir and compare the stock prices of the contract date to today's date and see how they performed. My assumption here is that if the Palantir software is working, then the stock prices of these companies will generally be going up, right? So let's find out. Okay, so here's the spreadsheet. We have a total of 13 companies that are official Palantir partners. And I'm going to fill out the rest of the columns like the ticker symbol, the date of contract, the stock price at the date of contract, today's price, the percentage change, their industry, and the market cap. So after I complete this table, we should be able to get some value out of it, one way or another. Great, I know what I'll be doing for the next couple hours. If you like this type of content, drop me a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, thank you. Okay, so that's done. Now we need to interpret the data. In this percentage change column, if we just highlight some of the losses, the negative numbers here, we have 3 of them that are in negative, but the rest of them has gone up, some of them as high as 90%. We need to set certain parameters in order to make this table meaningful. So one way to look at it is by industries. For example, we have 2 manufacturers here, Ferrari for auto and Airbus for airliner. Both of them has gone up quite a bit, one's at 37, the other one is 90. Another industry would be cloud services and information technology. So all 3 of them has gone up from 8% to 20% just in this year because all the contracts were signed in January, February, and March of 2021. So that's another trend we can focus on. Maybe the Palantir software is more effective in certain industries, right? This cloud and infotech sector may be a good example. Why do I think that may be the case? Because the fact that software can be implemented in seconds or hours. Whereas something more tangible like moving a warehouse would take months if not years because we have signed contracts, right? But for cloud services, we can easily move from North America to Asia within hours. Like that is how efficient it is. So that may be the reason why these 3 companies have gone up so quickly, all within this year. On a side note, I actually made a play on one of these companies, Fujitsu. So as some of you may know, when IBM reported blowout earnings in Q1 of 2021, this was the date they reported, April 19th. And if we look at the stock price, IBM, we saw a 5% jump overnight, and that's when I reacted. I reacted by buying Fujitsu on the same day, or night actually. If I look at my trade here, Japanese stock 6702.T, I executed the purchase on the night of the 19th because the Japanese market is under a different time zone. So as you can see here, I bought 300 shares at 16,381 yen. So if you look at the ticker symbol 6702, and we go back a month on April 19th. This was the area that I bought, but they didn't report the earnings until April 29th. And that's when it shot up to around 17,300. Around 17,200, 17,300, I unloaded all my shares. So I bought everything immediately and I sold everything off after the good news. This is generally the process of my short-term trades. If I just convert the Japanese yen, 249,000, we get about 2281 USD. This is a speculation play. And what I'm going to do with this 2281 is buy more Palantir shares. Today the shares tanked to about $20, so I can buy about 110 shares. That's alright, I get a better deal in the stock. Okay, back to the spreadsheet. We noticed that one of the losses is almost at 40%. BP. They've been a partner of Palantir since 2014. If we look at the industry they're in oil and gas. And we all know what happened last year with oil and gas. The futures of a barrel actually went negative back in, I think, April 2020. So these are cyclical stocks. We can't really use this company to judge Palantir's effectiveness. And these 2 negative numbers are from PG&E, a gas and electric company, and Farcia, an automotive supplier. Because the contracts were signed in January or March of this year, is way too early to tell. As I mentioned before, some of these tangible industries will take time, maybe 6 months to 1 year, for them to fully integrate to the Palantir systems. So after digging through this table, I find that there are 2 main things I want to look at. First one is a major manufacturer, but we need to know that these are dated back in 2017, so they have 4 years to increase their effectiveness. One of Palantir's future contracts is rumored to be BMW. That's another auto manufacturer. When they officially sign the contract, there may be an opportunity to bet on the next earnings report. The other sector, as I mentioned, is the cloud services. We're going to take a look at how many companies there are in this sector and what we can bet on. So if we just pull out the top cloud providers in 2021, AWS is already leading the pack and they're partners with them already. But then the list goes on. Number 2 is Microsoft Azure. Number 3, Cloud Google Platform. And then we have Alibaba Cloud. I don't really see them getting into China because of how protective they are with their data security. Okay, next one, IBM. So we already have partnerships with 2 of the top 5 cloud providers. If we scroll down the list, we have Dell, HP, Cisco, Salesforce, Oracle, SAP, Workday, Adobe, ServiceNow. If we ever see the official partnerships of these companies with Palantir, I may be betting on those as well. Okay, now I'm going to share 2 testimonials from Palantir's partners, namely Ferrari and Doosan Infracore.
Originally, we envisaged using the platform to replace existing tools, to do repetitive analysis. Now we are tending to use the platform on the fly to test new hypotheses. It allows our engineers to focus on the ideas and possibilities that can really bring positive results.
What I really find intriguing is that they're using the data on the fly, because time is money, right? There's no time to send the results back to the lab and then get it back in a week anymore. We want results on the fly. And what Palantir is providing is this instantaneous result. That if we change one single variable, what's going to happen to the grand scheme of things? We don't need to wait weeks or hours, or wait for some researcher to go through all the data. It's instantaneous with the AI and machine learning.
(40년) 전부터 생성된 방대한 데이터들이 숭고한 시스템 속에 산재되어 있었습니다.
그래서 DI360에서 팔런티어와 함께 만든 약 3억 로우에 달하는 빅데이터인 시장 수요 데이터셋과 자사 건설 장비에 달린 TMS 기기를 통해 생성된 장비 가동 시간 정보를
Okay, from what the CEO is saying, they're saying that Palantir was able to use 40 years of the data through a different era, through different operating systems. They were able to consolidate all this data. And he mentioned there are 300 million rows of data. How can you even visualize that data? Better yet, manipulate it and make it into something meaningful. Since Doosan Infracore's main business is to deal with construction equipment, they will have so much data as to why the equipment broke down. So if Palantir can get into all this data and forecast which equipment needs to be repaired prior to breaking down, wouldn't they save so much money? They wouldn't have to deploy this equipment to site just to know that it's a dummy and you have to bring it back. All this logistic takes time and money. So if they can use historical data to predict the future, that information is invaluable. Drop me a like and subscribe if you found any value in the video. As always, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.